Good evening to everybody. Today we will go through the yesterday's class continuation culture related terminologies. Cultural culture is having the three major components. Number 1 is cultural trait. Number 2 is cultural complexes. Number 3 is cultural pattern. Number 1, cultural trait. Cultural trait is a basic unit or small unit in the general culture. It will form out of need only. All cultural traits are interconnected. They maintain the harmonious relationship in a particular complex. Example, salute to the flag, greetings, that is touching the feet of elders and guests, that speaks the respect towards the elders, and sprinkling of water over the idol. All these things are the subcultural, are the cultural traits working phenomenon. And then we will switch over to the types of the cultural traits. Number 1 is universal. Number 2 is alternatives. Number 3 is specialities. Number 4 is subculture. Number 5 is contraculture. Number 6 is cultural area. One after another. If it is universal, cultural traits, how we will come to know from our other group, we are getting the knowledge, awareness. After understanding, we will adopt. After adopting, when we are enjoying the fruits of the cultural trait, then we will send it, we will share to the other people. This is very common phenomenon universally. That's why we can call it as culture traits is also called as universal phenomenon. And then cultural traits are alternatives. Here, each individual is having the choice to select according to one's own interest. Example, food habits, vegetarian and non-vegetarian. Some people can take the both, that is different case. But here it is, the cultural traits in the alternatives, it has A type in a group, its functions are X type. If the same cultural trait in the B group, its functions are not the same X type, it will function as a Y type. So that trait is common either in the cultural pattern or cultural universal or cultural alternative or cultural universal. In both way, cultural trait is common, but the functions are different. Whatever it may be, both are having the interconnectedness, interrelationship. And then switch over to the third variety, subculture. Subcultural traits are part of the integral part of the general culture. That subcultures cannot sustain by itself, cannot give the full meaning, complete sense for the work. So it always depends upon the co-cultural trait, that is which is available in the general culture. Example, caste system, class system, and peer group culture, some other cultures. And then contra culture. Here it differs with the prevailing pattern, and it is also against to the socio-cultural norms. Example, Naxalites. And cultural area. Common similar features are present in cultural trait as well as the cultural complexes. So where there is a similar features, that area will be called as cultural area. Once again we will review. The culture is having the three common components: cultural trait, cultural complexes, cultural pattern. We will study the cultural trait. Cultural trait is a basic unit for the entire culture. How it formed? Out of need only cultural trait emerged when it does not have the independency. So number of cultural traits is having the cooperation, coordination in order to integrate the general culture. Example, here it is. This culture is, example, greeting culture. Touching the feet of the elders or the guests shows the respect towards the others. Sprinkling of water over the idols. Salute to the flag, that is a part of the national patriotism. So like this we can understand cultural trait nature. And cultural traits is not common, its performance is not same in each group. As group changes, cultural traits performance also changes, role performance also changes. Example, in A group, some X cultural trait is there, its work is X type, whereas in B group, X type cultural trait we cannot see. Here it is Y cultural type of the performance we will observe. That is, in A group, cultural trait is having the more significance, it is more essential, whereas in the B group, the same cultural trait does not have the much significance. By that, what we can say, the cultural traits are different from one group to another group. The types of the cultural traits, one is universal, second one is alternative, third one is specialities, fourth one is subculture, fifth one is contra culture, sixth one is cultural area. If it is universal, when we are adopted, when we have the knowledge about the cultural trait which is not ours, we would like to adopt and practice, and we would enjoy the fruits of that cultural trait. By that, are we stop? No, we will distribute to the others. By distributing means it is a universal phenomenon. Everywhere cultural traits, some cultural traits are common. Where there is a cultural traits are common, we can use the word universal cultural traits. Cultural traits are universal. Only very few it will be in number. Next, cultural traits are alternatives. Each human being is having their own choice. Example, with reference to the food. Some people may be vegetarians, some people may be non-vegetarians. Sometimes both we will take the another group also. So here it is. In A group, a X cultural trait will do its role performance. But this X cultural trait in B group not doing the same performance, it differ. Its role performance is differ. So if it is other than the A group, its role is different. So it is universally applicable. By this, alternatives and universally the same cultural trait moving this side and that side, but the performances are different at different places. So sometimes alternatives may be appear as the universal cultural trait appear in the alternatives also. The third one is specialities. Some cultural traits are only confined to the few group. Example, babysitting, childcare or nursing the baby is only confined to the women group, not for the men group. And also subcultures. Subcultural traits cannot live independently, cannot give the full meaning for the culture. So it always under the control of the whole culture or the general culture. Example, caste system, class system and sex group, that is male, female or gender, masculine, feminine and the transgender, and also the peer group culture. Next, contra culture. This cultural trait differ based on the prevailing pattern, and it also against to the socio-cultural conditions. Example, Naxalites. And then cultural area. Either the cultural traits or cultural complexes, wherever they may be, either individually or group work, its work is one and same. So it is having the similar features. Its performance also same. There is no changes. So that such a type of cultural traits and cultural complexes will be available in a particular area. We will call it as cultural area. By this, our culture topic is completed. Please kindly do subscribe. This is Bindu taking leave from the YouTube platform. Good night.